Greetings, Patrick here for another edition of Dollar Theater, the Voters Edition. And this week was a smorgasbord of films to select from. Um, I was again pretty surprised about which movie won, and which one we're really talking about. I would have actually thought this one would have probably finished on the bottom of the pile. Yet it did not. It finished overwhelmingly number one. Overwhelmingly, it's 57%. Uh, well, there you go. And this is a pretty good. I thought this was a pretty good, fun stack of movies. I thought it was going to be much closer than what it was. Had Godzilla in there, so a fun creature feature. Gigantic, which is another indies 2000 in the 2000s indie comedy. And then we had, of course, we had Unidentified from Dark Skies Pictures, which that was actually the movie I thought would actually win. I thought Unidentified would eke out Wapzilla, but little did I know that the movie that won, well, there we go. The movie that won this week is Northville Cemetery Massacre. I found this at the library, picked it up for a quarter. This is the director's edition. This is like the ultimate edition, with tons of special features on it. Tons of special features on it. Some fascinating trivia. And also, another piece of trivia. Your boy, me and Lori Ann, we lived in Northfield for a while. We lived in Northfield for 3 years. And yeah, it's when I heard I had never I think I had read one small article about this movie, and I can't even remember what it was. All I know, it was the Northville Cemetery Massacre, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I know where there's a cemetery at here. I know Northville pretty well, but I'm not sure where the cemetery would be at. Um, but they did indeed film the movie in Northville, and this is a real place, Northville, Michigan. It is a real place. So the film is about it's a biker movie. You know, it's one of the last ones that was released during the 60s and 70s when it was a very popular genre. Biker movies were everywhere back then. So if there was a chopper rolling by, there'd probably be a film crew behind it. Um, but this is like one of the last gasps. They started the movie back filming it in 1971, so the popularity was still pretty high. But unfortunately, due to low budgets and running out of funds and continuously having to restart production, the movie didn't get finished and released until 1976. So it was a 5 year movie, and the story is pretty basic, and that is, because back then, as in now, um, um, but here they portrayed the motorcycle gang as the victims. They have them as just a bunch of fun-loving guys on a bike, on a motorcycles, not doing anybody, not terrorizing anybody. Um, they help a couple who has a flat tire. They, an older couple, and the older lady wheels down her window to say thank you, and one of the bikers gives her a smooch, which thrills her to no end. But we see it, but we co-directors William Deere and what's our co-director's name? Uh, Thomas Dyke. So William Deere and Thomas Dyke. They established really quickly that our guys are just a bunch of fun-loving guys. They're not meaning any harm. Um, but the town is scared of them because there's a reputation of the biker gangs, and so they try to push them out. First, they bust them all for speeding. And then for their sentence, which I actually thought was pretty original, and it does show you that the guys have a sense of humor. But the judge sentenced them for speeding. He sentenced them to run through the car wash. They have to ride their motorcycles and themselves through a car wash. That's their sentence. So it does show a little bit of humor, and the guys do it, good naturedly. Um, um, and what they don't know is they had picked up a buddy. A guy had stumbled across with them, named Chris, and he's hanging out with them now, and he gets them all high in the jail, and now he's gonna be riding with them for a while. And he rides to pick up his girl. He's in town because his brother got killed in an accident, and Chris is a Vietnam soldier. Uh, so he didn't even know about his brother dying for 2 weeks. So he's in the town to take care of business, and he sees this girl. And unfortunately, so do the police. The police find them. They find Chris and his girl, and the police officer he assaults her and beats Chris into submission and unconsciousness, and then they take the girl away and they put her in a psychiatric hospital. Yeah, Northville had one of those too. Basically to keep her quiet, and the sheriff turns around and tells the girl's father that it was the biker gang that had done it. So, the fathers are really upset, and they go around to the town, and they spread the word that the business owner's daughter had been assaulted by one of the motorcycle gangs, and so that causes a just straight out brawl and bursts out into it takes this place in a gunfight, and that's where. And let's put it this way: both sides have guns, but only one side knows how to shoot, and it ain't the bikers. So basically, the bikers they all pretty much come to almost pretty much to a dead end. Everybody. It's a gory movie. Even back there for '76, this is actually holds its own as far as gore goes. So I mentioned about it being equal to the Wild Bunch or Texas Chainsaw Massacre as far as the gore goes. And yeah, you won't get any argument from me. So and the movie does end on a question note. It features Chris and the sheriff who started all this, and they're locked into a Mexican standoff, and we never find out who wins that. All we know is that they pull back. I think the last shot is from the helicopter, and you can just see the bikers, mostly the bikers, have just all been killed. The ending is just sort of like an easy rider on massive shot of steroids. Um, so, yeah, I don't know what it is about biker movies that has Hollywood, portraying them as, especially back then. I mean, motorcycle gangs even today are still a problem. I mean, we still have some here, and actually, they used a real gang. They used, and I said gang, the Scorpions Motorcycle Club. That was a real club. They're still around. I've ridden by their clubhouse a few times. Yeah, it's wow. You want to look at it. I guess you can look at it more as a sense of innocence. I guess there are some gangs that are that's all they do. They just come out, they ride their motorcycles on the weekends, and then there's some that live the life, and a violent life it is. And before anybody says they're just a bunch of good old boys, I highly recommend you read a couple of books that I read about undercover cops that have gotten inside of motorcycle gangs, including the infamous Hells Angels, and they're not nice at all. Um, but I guess the '70s being different, most of the time maybe the guys just wanted to ride free and wear their colors. They comment about how the cops are always on them because you have long hair, you ride a motorcycle, and you wear colors. That was going to get you a pullover. And yeah, back then, yes. Today, not so sure. In fact, honest to hell, I have never seen, and I've seen plenty of motorcycle riding together. I have never seen a single cop ever try to pull any of them over. It's one of those things where it's like, as long as they're riding on underneath I guess whatever rules the cops are applying to, I guess it's fine. Um, But these guys they are sort of happy-go-lucky. I mean, that's one thing. They're not assholes in this movie. They are happy-go-lucky, and it's a good portrayal, I guess. I don't think it's a realistic one, but they, yeah. And the thing is, they use all members from the club, so the acting is really rough and uneven, and that's because it was all done by pretty much all actors, non-actors. They're all from the motorcycle club. Our main hero, Chris, well, he suffered. He he got the honor. He got the honor of being dubbed over. His voice for our hero's voice got dubbed over by none other than Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte. This is back when Nick Nolte was just starting out. I mean, I'm not even sure when he did his voiceover. If it was in '75. Yeah, that would have been about the same time. The first time I ever saw Nick Nolte was 1975, and I'm going to take it back. It might have been a little bit sooner than that. I know he played on an episode of Emergency. He played a doctor. But here he used his voice and played Chris, one of the allies of the motorcycle gang. What was really fun about this is not only the only person ever went on to do anything else other than I guess nobody did really other than William Deere. Is nobody. They all just went on their merry ways. William Deere ended up 10 years after this. He ended up directing a movie for Steven Spielberg called Harry and the Hendersons, which did pretty well at the box office. So you got Northville Cemetery Massacre, and you have Harry and the Hendersons. Sort of like Bob Clark. Sort of like he's got Black Christmas, and then he's got Porky's. Pretty uneven mix. Did I like this movie? I don't know. Maybe I'm prejudiced for this. I'm not the biggest, and I'm sure some people might say, "What?" I'm not the biggest fan of motorcycle clubs. I mean, they're okay. I mean, I've known a few, and I mean some I stay clear away from. Others I would trust with my life. There's a couple of guys I know that did ride, and yes, I would trust them with my very life. But a lot of there's been a lot of trouble. I mean, wherever they go, they always end up getting into trouble. It's not just out there riding bikes and enjoying the freedom of the road. There's a lot of the drug runnings and weapon running. That's what happens through motorcycle clubs. And very hard to pin these. Very hard to, find witnesses or people who are willing to step up and say something because of the violent nature. In fact, they're probably more violent than the mafia families are. Just as equally destructive as any urban street gang. But that's just my opinion, of course. But the movie itself, yeah, it was all right. It was made from a place of love. They worked really hard at it. William Deere and Dyke worked really hard at it. It's just so weird to see them portrayed as so one-sided, where they all get wiped out. Most of the time, it's the other way around, where the motorcycle gangs take care of business, and the town suffers for it. All right, that's it for this review of Northville Cemetery Massacre. I don't know. You'll have to start. You'll probably have to hunt for this one. I don't know how many of these were made. I can't imagine a whole lot of them were made. But it is by VCI, and I do believe that is actually an active distributing company. So I do believe if you get a hold of VCI Entertainment, I'm sure you can probably get a copy of this DVD. I would recommend it. Maybe not my cup of tea, but it is a movie I would, if you're into the action adventure and into the shootouts and all that, yes, this movie's right for you. And it is gory, that you know. All right, that's it for us, and we will come up with a new 4 movies. which will be coming up here shortly. All right, thanks for watching. Drop a comment down below if you've ever seen Northville Cemetery Massacre, or if you have a favorite motor gang movie, motorcycle gang movie. I think there was one called The Bike Riders that came out just last year, and there you go. I think they do like one mainstream motorcycle movie a year. I think, maybe not. All right, that's it for us. We'll talk to you soon.